Golf Pick'em Expert Picks. Brought to you by FootJoy.
Only 2 events left in the PGA Tour postseason. Only 4 events left in the Golf Pick'em season. Nick Menta, I'm Will Gray. We're here to walk you through the head-to-head matchups, pick a tournament winner, pick a score in the NBC Sports Predictor app. And Nick, we're going to start with a marquee matchup. Tiger Woods needs a big week this week at the BMW Championship to advance to the Tour Championship. He's up against Jon Rahm. Who do you like?
Will, as was once said about Tiger Woods, this isn't a fair fight, except now he's on the wrong side of that not fair fight. The world number 2, Jon Rahm, has finished T13 or better in 3 of his last 4 starts. He won at Memorial, coming off a tie for 6th in Boston. Tiger Woods, conversely, yes, has made 3 cuts this summer, but has been otherwise, frankly, irrelevant over the weekend. There's nothing to say that they can't switch roles for 1 week, but if we're going on form, it's not a contest. It's Rahm.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, how much does it hurt to tie for 6th at an event, at a playoff event, and lose the number 1 ranking? That's what happened to Jon Rahm last week. It's not like he's playing bad. He's 4th in strokes gained total, 7th in strokes gained tee to green. And as you said, Tiger just hasn't shown it this summer at all in terms of getting 2 rounds together, let alone 4 in a row. I think Rahm is the way to go over Tiger at Olympia Fields. They are numbers 1 and 2 in the latest FedEx Cup standings. Dustin Johnson, fresh off an 11-shot victory against Justin Thomas, the defending champ. Nick, who do you like in Chicago?
Yeah, since winning in Memphis, Justin Thomas, appears to be cooling off just a little bit in his last 2 starts. Dustin Johnson, on the other hand, since those disastrous outings at Memorial and 3M, he's finished 12th, 2nd, and 1st. It's coming off this win. JT can, yes, turn it on at any time, but I think it's personally worth riding out the Dustin Johnson heater. Will, are you going to ride with me, or are you going to sell high?
I am selling high. Get me out. Let me cash out my dividends here. Listen, last time DJ won at the Travelers, he followed with the disasters you spoke about, 80-80 at the Memorial. He withdrew from 3M. He cannot possibly play as well this week as he did last week. Perfect opportunity to buck the trend. Give me JT, who you say he's cooling off. I say he's still 2nd on tour in total strokes gained, leading the tour in strokes gained approach. That is a far cry from a hacker. I think Justin Thomas is in very good shape this week. The latest entrant into the 59 club against perhaps the hottest player on the PGA Tour, Nick, Scottie Scheffler or Daniel Berger this week at the BMW?
Yeah, Will, the only question I have about Daniel Berger is, are we not pumping him up enough? I mean, this is a pretty impressive run he's putting together. He's finished in the top 10 in 7 of his last 9 starts. That includes his win at Colonial and 5 more top 5 finishes. Yes, Scheffler is the latest Mr. 59, but he also failed to break 70 in 2 of those rounds in Boston. By contrast, Berger went 66-66 to open and 67-67 over the weekend. How's that for consistency? I'm taking Berger.
I hear you on the consistency. I also love the fact that you're hating on a guy that shot 59 last week.
I'm hating on.
Move past that. We're moving on. I'm actually going to take Scottie Scheffler. I'm intrigued. He's making the Rookie of the Year race a race between him and Victor Hovland. Now both are pretty much in very good shape to make it to East Lake. Scottie Scheffler, back-to-back T4 finishes, including the PGA, 4 straight top 25s, and yes, the 59. I really like the way he's trending. Could be heading towards a breakthrough win in his rookie season. They are 2 of the top 6 players in the world. I need you, Nick, to choose who's going to have a better week at the BMW, Rory McIlroy or Webb Simpson.
Where have you gone, Rory McIlroy? This is a guy who, after putting together that really impressive top 5 streak, has just 1 top 25 finish in his last 7 starts. Otherwise, he's been a fixture on the earliest portion of the tee sheet on Sunday. Webb, on the other hand, has gone T6 and T3 in his last 2 starts. Yes, Olympia Fields is going to be a haul for a shorter hitter like Webb. And I do expect McIlroy to break out of this at some point, but I'm done predicting it. I'll take Webb.
I'm right there with you. I really think Webb could have the better of this matchup. You mentioned it could be a tough course for a short hitter, but it is a good course for him given the small greens are going to accentuate his strength with the irons. Nick, there were 70 players that made the cut last week at TPC Boston. Any guesses on where Rory ranked on strokes gained putting?
I guess towards 70. The bottom, pal.
Dead last in strokes gained putting. That is not an ideal trend even for a player of his caliber. I'm done waiting around for Rory to find it. I'm going to take Webb Simpson. Nick, this matchup has 2 guys who played in the 2015 U.S. Amateur at Olympia Fields. Both have gone on to bigger and better things since then. Bryson DeChambeau, Collin Morikawa.
Yeah, 2 guys who also missed the cut in Boston and 2 guys who you thought would have contended on that golf course, particularly Bryson. This is only the 2nd missed cut of Morikawa's career. Do you know what he did last time he missed a cut, Will?
I think he did pretty well following that.
He won the workday. Bryson's been talking about how he's trying to find it. Well, I've found Morikawa, so I don't need it. I'll take Collin Morikawa.
I understand, and it's hard for me to go against Collin Morikawa. I'm going to find a way because Bryson, even though after the missed cut, he's still leading in strokes gained off the tee. He's leading in strokes gained approach. And by the way, he blitzed the field here 5 years ago, cruised to a U.S. Amateur victory. This is going to be a place where he's got some great vibes. I think he bounces back in a big way in Chicago. We've got a pair of Australian major champs, Nick, in this matchup. Adam Scott, Jason Day. Who's going to have the better week at Olympia Fields?
Yeah, the Jason Day heater came to an end with that missed cut in Boston, but prior to that, he had finished 7th or better in 4 consecutive events. I'm willing to bet that he bounces back on a former major venue and contends again. As for Scott, part of me expected him to come back from that extended break and just look fresher than everybody else who played all summer, but he just hasn't quite shown that in 2 starts. I'll take Day.
I was definitely surprised by Day's struggles last week. He was one of the pre-tournament favorites, ended up missing the cut. I'm actually going to lean Adam Scott here. I think he's more consistent, especially with the irons. Jason Day, 108th in strokes gained approach. The irons are definitely the weakness in his game. And at 50th in the standings, he might go for broke this week, needing probably a top 6 or 7 finish to have any chance of advancing to the Tour Championship. Adam Scott has a little more room to spare. He can have a lower finish and still make it to Atlanta. I think he's the way to go. Our final matchup this week, Nick, Brendan Todd, already with 2 wins this season against Xander Schauffele, still trying to get over the finish line. Who do you like in Chicago?
Yeah, as hot as Todd has been this year, he's coming off a missed cut and a tie for 64th. Xander oppositely hasn't missed a cut since Rory. In fact, he's riding 6 straight top 25 finishes. We keep saying he's due, and I'm going to address that in a minute. I'll take Schauffele in this matchup, and I intend to expand on that in just a moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Xander, T25 last week in Boston. That was his worst finish since the Travelers in June. He has been playing some very consistent golf, 5th in strokes gained tee to green. And you mentioned Brendan Todd. He had the Sunday scaries earlier in the summer, and now he just doesn't seem to have it. He was 67th out of 70 players in strokes gained approach. I'm not sold that there's much gas left in the tank for Brendan Todd. All right, Nick, those are our picks for the 7 head-to-head matchups. But as you know, in Golf Pick'em, I need a tournament winner as well. Who is your pick to win the season's penultimate event?
A weekly tradition here on Pick'em. One of us is going to take Xander Schauffele to finally break through. It's going to be me this week. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's at Eastlake. Maybe it's at Winged Foot or Augusta National. All I know is that this guy keeps putting himself in position, and he raises his game on the toughest golf courses. This is a major venue. It's not a major this week, obviously, but this setup seems perfect for him. I'm taking Xander.
I cannot tell you how upset I'm going to be after picking Xander for like 4 straight weeks if he wins.
I pull it off.
When you pick him and I'm breaking up with him and moving in another direction. The wounds are still healing, but we're going to try it anyway. I'll go a little curveball. I'll go with Mr. 59. Give me Scottie Scheffler, who has not yet won on the PGA Tour, almost broke through at the PGA, obviously played really well last week, even though he got overshadowed by Dustin Johnson's dominant performance. The stats are all there. The momentum is there. He's in a great position to feel like he doesn't have anything to lose this week. He's in great position to make it to Eastlake regardless. This is just the sort of free roll that I think could really benefit a guy like Scottie Scheffler, who could go from Rookie of the Year to one of the contenders at the Tour Championship. All right, those are our picks for winners as well as 7 head-to-head matchups for the BMW Championship. Remember, go on to Golf Pick'em in the NBC Sports Predictor app. Make your picks for this week's event. We're going to be doing this every week through the end of this season, plus the U.S. Open, plus the Masters. $1,000 every week in guaranteed prizes, $50,000 jackpot on the line if you get a perfect score. For Nick Menta, I'm Will Gray. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll see you next week.
Golf Pick'em Expert Picks, brought to you by FootJoy.